Your job as a professional driver is to avoid accidents. It's the single most important part of your job. And the question always asked is, exactly how do you avoid accidents? Part 1 of this videotape will provide you with some very useful, very practical safety tips on reducing and avoiding left-hand turning accidents. Use these suggestions as guidelines, combining them with your own experiences and the situations that you encounter to make you a more effective driver. There are 5 basic steps to making a safe left turn. Step 1 is signaling. It is very important that you let the other drivers know what you intend to do so that they can allow for you and your bus as they drive. Most people will drive to avoid conflicts. Your signal broadcasts your movements to those around you so that they can slow down or just be aware of you and your bus. Step 2 is looking. You must take a good look at the area where you are going to turn. Looking lets you plan a safe turn, one that is smooth, comfortable, and easy to execute. Step 3 is positioning. You must place your bus carefully when getting set up to make a safe left turn. Choose your lane correctly and get in the lane early enough so that you do not create a hazard as you approach the left turn area. Finally, pull forward far enough to execute a safe left turn that will clear any cars or people to your immediate left as you swing through the turn. Step 4 is speed control. As you move through the turn, it is vital that you maintain a rate of speed which gives you the safest possible turn. Speed control means a reasonably slow turn and always being ready to stop immediately. Step 5 is execution. This is the actual turning movement and the step in which just about all turning accidents occur. As you actually turn, you must proceed with 2 thoughts in mind. As a professional driver, you must, 1, not make any errors, and 2, you must compensate for the errors of others. Following all 5 steps correctly and precisely will lessen the chance of left turn accidents happening. Before I go on with more suggestions on the precise way to make a safe left turn, let me introduce you to Mike O'Brien, a Lancer Insurance Company's safety representative. At a recent safety meeting, Mike was going over some left turn safety ideas, and we caught him on videotape. Let's join him now.
Now let's draw out an intersection and talk about the elements and how they work. And then you're going to see why I'm a safety manager and not an artist, as I draw here, but basic intersection, okay? It's a good one. Number 1, as you're turning here on the left turn, it's very important to use the first element, and that's signaling. You signal for your left turn. You know, state law or federal law usually says 100 feet, but you know, you size up the situation and see. Maybe you want to start signaling before then. And of course, you want to be looking to see what this intersection contains and what hazards may be there that you have to address soon enough so nothing happens, no accident happens. Positioning, very important in positioning. It's one of the first things I want to put on here. A lot of drivers, what they'll do is they'll come up and they'll turn. Let me just put a little dotted line here. They'll start turning from here and turn over. It's not good. And positioning, what you want to do on a left turn is you want to get the bus up in this area and then start turning. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number 1, and I've seen this happen a couple of times, is the vehicle that's coming this way, another car, another truck or whatever, is coming past, and you turn from this area here, and he stops right here. And you thought he continued. But he stops because maybe there's stopped traffic for whatever reason. And then as you go past, you hit him. And we'll get into tracking. I'll show you how that happens. That's number 1 reason.
So, Mike has identified a couple of our 5 steps to safe turns: signaling and positioning. He also discussed tracking as well. What do we mean by the term tracking? All we are talking about here is the path that the wheels actually take as you turn. The problem is, of course, the bus rear wheels turn inside the path of the front wheels, making sideswipe accidents a very definite possibility. Let's now go into more detail on step 2 for left turn safety, looking. There are literally dozens of hazards in the intersection area for you to deal with as you go through your left turn. First, there are pedestrians. As you turn, you will have to watch for, make eye contact with, and avoid pedestrians who may or may not be aware of you, your bus, or basic safety rules. This is especially critical as you turn and your rear wheels track inside your front wheels, surprising people who may walk out into the street as you begin your turn. Traffic approaching you may be going much faster than you think, and when you turn in front of them, you invite a disaster. Here, patience is the key. Yield the right of way, take an extra moment to be sure, and never risk a crash to save a minute or two. Next, there are other vehicles around you, some moving, some standing still. As you turn, you are vulnerable to an incident or an accident because it's very difficult to get out of the way when you are in the middle of a turn. Third are fixed objects. In cities, and particularly on one-way streets, you could have a problem with fixed objects, including parked cars. The key to safe turning here is to choose the safest path to turn before you get to the intersection. This means looking carefully, then choosing a position that allows you to go through the turn in the safest possible way. Now, there is one more part of left turning that needs to be discussed. This is a special situation where there are 2 lanes dedicated to left turns. Let's go back to that meeting that Mike O'Brien led and listen in on his discussion of the problem and of the solution.
When you're coming upon a road or a highway, or you're on one of them, and what happens is, there's an intersection here, and there's 2 left turns. In other words, these 2 left turn lanes are present. Whenever that situation occurs and you're coming up and there's 2 left turn lanes, what you want to be is in this lane right here. This is the lane you want to be in, not this one. Now, the reason for that is that you've got tail end swing, and a lot more in school buses maybe than coaches or transit buses, but you have tail end swing and you have a lot more vision if you're in this lane. Because if you go around here in this lane, you can't see the vehicles on the right real well. And also, as you're turning, your tail of your bus can swing over and hit the vehicle that's turning beside you. So you always want to be in that left turn. When there's 2 left turn lanes, you want to be in the outside one, the one to the right. That's a basic method in turning.
The last 2 safe left turn items we need to discuss are speed control and execution. They go together. It is in execution, the actual making of the turn, that accidents occur. And it is with speed control that many accidents can be prevented. New drivers generally turn safely and carefully. After some experience behind the wheel, drivers often pick up the pace, and sometimes when picking up the pace, they give up too much on the safety side of things. When you execute your left turn, your safety is assisted by all of the things that you have done before turning: signaling, positioning, and looking. But the final movements must be made firmly and smoothly, with all of your awareness directed at things which could go wrong, and at a speed which assures that you move through the turn promptly, but always under control, ready to slow, pause, or stop whenever a hazard arises. Points to remember. First, communicate your intentions by signaling. You must signal to let others know what you are planning to do. Next, you must look properly, not just all around you, but also knowing what hazards can arise and where they are most likely to appear. Third, positioning. Get the bus in the proper lane, do it early, and pull far enough forward so there won't be a problem with the tracking of the rear wheels. Fourth, speed control. Be sure that you approach and turn at a speed which allows you to avoid unexpected hazards. Be prepared to slow or to stop. And finally, execution. Turning with the assurance that all of the other steps, done correctly, can provide a safe movement is the mark of a professional. As you turn, move ahead with care, caution, and confidence. Left turns are safe turns when you know what safety rules apply to you and your bus. Use these safety rules to your advantage, and you will drive as a professional, smoothly, comfortably, and safely. Part 2 of our videotape will provide you with some very useful, very practical safety tips on reducing and avoiding right-hand turning accidents. Use these suggestions as guidelines, combining them with your own experiences and the situations you encounter to make you a more effective driver. One of the biggest accident hazards you will face as a professional bus driver is what should be the simple act of making a right-hand turn. Making a right-hand turn in a bus is difficult because of two factors. First, the size of the bus and its turning radius force you to use extra space when turning. Second, your visibility to the rear, particularly to the right rear, is restricted, making it possible for following drivers to attempt to move past you as you slow and turn. These two factors do not cause accidents. Only drivers do that. What these two factors create is an increase in the possibility of an accident, and this increase can be counteracted. There are 5 basic steps to making a safe right turn. Step 1 is signaling. It is very important that you let other drivers know what you intend to do so that they can allow for you and your bus as they drive. Most people will drive to avoid conflicts. Your signal broadcasts your movements to those around you so that they can slow down or just be aware of you and your bus. Step 2 is looking. You must take a good look at the area where you are going to turn. How large is the intersection? Where are the hazards? Is there anyone blocking your way as you turn? Are there pedestrians present? What about parked cars? Is there oncoming traffic? If so, how fast is it moving? Looking lets you plan a safe turn, one that is smooth, comfortable, and easy to execute. Step 3 is positioning. You must place your bus carefully when getting set up to make a safe right turn. Choose your lane correctly and get in the lane early enough so that you do not create a hazard as you approach the turn area. Position yourself in that lane to keep following vehicles safely behind you and also to allow your turn to be one continuous smooth motion. Step 4 is speed control. As you move through the turn, it is vital that you maintain a rate of speed which gives you the safest possible turn. Speed control means a reasonably slow turn and always being ready to stop immediately. Step 5 is execution. This is the actual turning movement and the step in which just about all turning accidents occur. As you actually turn, you must proceed with 2 thoughts in mind. First, as a professional driver, you must not make any errors. And second, you must compensate for the errors of others. Be sure that every movement you make can be done safely. Knowing these 5 steps will help to reduce right turn accidents. But we need to do more to stay safe. We need to make allowances for the size of our bus and for the rear and right side visibility problem that we have. At a recent safety meeting led by Lancer Insurance Company's safety representative, Mike O'Brien, several right turn problems were discussed in detail. Let's join Mike as he goes over the button hook turn, a turn method which gets you more space, but unfortunately confuses other drivers and costs you vital visibility at the critical moment of turning.
Now, I want to talk about 2 things here. One, the proper method or the most preferred method of turning, which you may or may not know, and that's the straddle method, which I'm going to show you. But the first thing I want to show you is the button hook, or some people call it the box method of turning, like most tractor trailers do. And I'm going to show you the wrong way, then I'm going to show you the right way. Okay? So you've done all the things, you've looked and seen that what the intersection is and how much room you had, and you know your signal's on, you position your bus right. Now in the button hook, what most people do is they'll come along in the bus here, and as they come to the corner, they're going to, as they get closer to the corner, they come over here and they turn out this way, a little exaggerated maybe, and then they turn back. And that's what they call the button hook, or the hook. Now what's the problem with that? Well, you lose sight of things. It's not the preferred method. Let me show you why. Right here, when your bus is in this position, here's your mirror, you know, a little exaggerated, of course, and you're looking straight back there and a little out here. So that's your, you know, where you can see in that area. But when you get here, what happens to your mirror? You're still looking back here, and you're out there, but what happens to the vehicles coming up in here? You see them till they get to that point? When they get to that point, you start turning back. It can be, and usually is, too late, especially if you don't have your foot on the brake already. That's probably happened to a couple of people out here, huh? You know, people shouldn't try to come in between a bus. But the point is, the people back here are not trying to get you angry or cut you off. What they've seen is you coming up here with your right turn signal on. There it is. And then all of a sudden, you turn left before your button hook. They say, oh, he's got the wrong signal on, he's turning left, I'm going to go by the right side. And that's what happens. So they're not, you know, trying to involve an accident, they're just getting the wrong signal from you. And this has been proven. There's been cameras put on top of tall buildings looking down at intersections and cars turning and buses turning. It's been proven. People think you're actually turning left, but you're not. You're coming back. So that's not the preferred method.
Making a button hook turn costs you too much on the safety side of things, but you need enough room for your bus to execute a turn. The method Mike is going to discuss is the straddle method, one which has been proven to give the best and safest results for bus drivers.
Okay, let's go over the preferred method, the straddle method of turning. It's the one that I've taught for a long time now, and the most preferred method by the drivers I've taught once they've learned it. Again, here comes Rembrandt. Okay, we'll set up the two-lane road. The difference in the straddle method is this. You signal, number one, of course, long before you're going to make the turn, and you look and size up the situation, looking for pedestrians and where the parked cars are and how tight the turn is. And then your positioning becomes very important in the straddle method. When your bus comes down this block here, you want to get no further than 4 feet from the curb, or it could be parked cars in here, but whatever the stationary object is. You don't want to be any more than 4 feet. And that's because an average car can't fit in there if you have 4 feet. You still have to watch out for motorcycles and bicycles and that kind of stuff, but an average car won't. Once that you've got that 4 feet, you maintain it right up to the turn, right up to when you're going to start turning.
So the straddle method allows you to see clearly behind you because you set up your position so that you can always see down the side and to the right rear through your mirror. And, in most cases, the 4-foot clearance you have to your right is enough room to make the average right turn smoothly, clearing objects to your right, not crossing the center line of the street you are turning into, and keeping your right side protected from cars trying to get by. But occasionally there are going to be situations where tight spaces make following the 4-foot rule impossible to use. Mike reviews that problem.
Now, when you start your turn, people will say to me, well, sometimes this is so tight, I've got the city run or I've got the school bus run or whatever it may be that you have, that I can't make that turn and I have to go wider. Well, that's fine. If you have to go wider, you know, than 4 feet because of the turn, let's say you have to go 8 feet. Stay straight, keep that vision and mirror there, but watch a lot more than you normally do. Keep a constant visual on that mirror. But stay straight so that you can see what's coming up beside you, your foot's on the brake, and you're ready to stop. The only other thing I want to show you here, which is real important, again, and this happens a lot, is a pedestrian there, and he sees you're going to make the turn, and you got some distance there, so he steps into the street, he or she. And as your bus goes around, the solid line will be the front wheels, and the broken line will be the rear. The rear wheels, let's say, the front wheels will track on a solid line around here. You know, and that pedestrian's standing there, and he may not be watching the back of the bus, and the rear wheels track over to the right and hit that pedestrian or hit the pole or hit whatever's there. So you got to watch the tracking. People don't understand that, particularly pedestrians.
Safe right turns are a matter of knowing what the hazards are, knowing where they occur, following the basic procedures, and driving to keep the hazards from causing you to become involved in an accident. Let's briefly review the key points to right turn safety. First, remember that you must signal to let others know what you are planning on doing. You must communicate your intentions. Next, you must look properly. Looking properly means not just looking all around you, but in a right turn, you must maintain your visibility by driving straight to the turn point. Third, positioning. Get your bus into the proper lane early, and then establish your 4-foot space to the right side, unless the space in the turn requires a wider position. Always keep your bus in a straight ahead position so you can see behind you. Fourth, speed control. Approach at a reasonable speed, ready to yield and stop if necessary. And fifth, execution. Pull far enough ahead before turning so your rear wheels will not track onto the curb or other object. Move smoothly into the turn and keep a lookout for hazards that may appear as you turn. Right turns done correctly can be and are safe movements. You must know and follow the safety rules and make sure that you have done everything that you can do to keep your right turns accident-free.